In the next handful of videos, I want to talk a little bit about budgeting because budgeting, your spending habits, and credit issues are all related. So I'll circle back around to credit in a couple of weeks. However, I want to let you know if you are wanting to learn how to repair your credit yourself using do it yourself software, then see the Road to Financial Freedom link in my bio. It is my link, and then I'll also post it in the comments below. So, the credit repair software that I have been using now has a do it yourself side to it, and that means you can use it too. So, here in a couple of weeks, when I'm done with budgeting, and that by that time the DIY side will open up. Those who are on the list will receive notifications so that they can get started. There's step-by-step training videos included, and I've also created a private group to be able to help answer questions. And this group is for those of you who have signed up and will be using the software. Now, back to budgeting. One of the hardest things I think you can sometimes have to do is admit that you've been challenged in your spending habits and that this hasn't exactly helped you in your financial well being. And it doesn't help that we live in a society that seems to encourage debt. The ability to use credit cards easily and conveniently for just about any kind of purchase. You're talking streaming services, nights out, whatever your favorite daily exotic coffee is. Mine is almond milk toasted spiced vanilla lattes, the gym membership that you never use, and impulse purchases of things that you want but you really don't need. And then for a lot of us, it just takes one unexpected emergency, and that can be a health, a medical, a family related emergency, or a job loss. These are things that I have seen in my credit repair experience, and I've also gone through some of these things. Like a lot of people, I too was once in a lot of credit card debt at one point. I considered bankruptcy, but I worked my way out of it. It was not easy. I took on extra jobs. I moved back home to save on rent, and then I used that to pay down the debts. Now, I could have filed for bankruptcy, but here's why I did not do that. Once you have a bankruptcy on your credit report, they're very hard to get removed. And two, even if you are able to get them removed, they sit in other databases that you don't have access to. And these are databases that landlords, leasing companies, creditors have access to. Third, it's very hard to find a place that's willing to rent to you when you have a bankruptcy on your credit report. These are things that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, and I don't think they're told this when they're considering a bankruptcy. So, if you want to get back on the road to financial freedom, if you want to get out of debt or at least reduce your debt, the first step to breaking any bad habit is recognizing that you have a bad habit to begin with. And in this case, it would be your spending and lack of budgeting. And then you want to commit to breaking that bad habit, doing what it takes. So when you start to put together a budget and you're having to go over your spending decisions and itemize them, that budget is going to paint a picture of your needs versus your wants. For example, you need to pay your rent so that you can have a roof over your head. You need to pay your utility bills so that you can keep the lights and the water going. You also need to buy groceries because, hey, you got to eat. You need to pay for transportation so that you can get to work. But do you need to eat out every other day or can you make a lunch? Do you need to stop by the coffee shop and get your morning daily coffee? Or can you make your own coffee at home and take it with you on the road? What about all those subscriptions that you have that you want but you don't need? And I bet some of them you're not even using. These are just some of the things that you notice when you start to budget. So, some of the next steps that are involved in fixing your spending habits may seem hard, but they're really not as hard as you think. Yes, you'll have to make some choices, but a budget does not have to be totally constraining. You can find some free or cheaper substitutions to do some of the things that you are currently spending money on. So, you might be able to buy a new car, and maybe you need a new car, but it doesn't have to be a BMW, doesn't have to be a Tesla, especially if your budget is telling you that you really have room for a Honda. Perhaps you would love to get the latest in an electronic gadget of sorts, but your budget is holding you accountable. And as long as you're listening to your budget and you're active with your budget, you're going to learn to say, no, not right now. Now's not a good time. But let me start a monthly savings towards whatever it is that I need to purchase.